Guro Jee Choi, Floro Fighting Systems. So today got another blade review since it's all nice and raining outside here in Pacific Northwest. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the beautiful day also. Raining days are my favorite days. I got something from the 90s. Shout out to Guro Tim for kindly giving, trade for this thing. Thanks again, brother. And also shout out to my brother Laci Szabo, who is the designer of this blade. This is as old school as it comes, guys, because it's blade from the late 90s. This is when Laci teamed up with, well, actually not teamed up, more like Laci had John Greco, who crafted these forms. This is Laci's design. It's an old school design by the name of Baby Tanto. It's got G innovations. Hold on, I'm gonna try to grab it without cutting myself. Single ridge wrap, as you guys can see. Now, I had a lot of you guys ask me, what is a single ridge wrap? Single ridge means it has ridge on only one side instead of having a double on both sides. Purpose of this is for many, I guess, depending on your mission criteria requirement, but generally for the my students in military service, they like this because it's easy, allows them to index the edge under no light, low light conditions, and at the same time, it feels, as you can see, it produces, when you do a single ridge wrap with 550 quartz, it produces that perfect palm swell, thus filling the hand and the void, giving you the more better precision control of the blade. What I like about single ridge wrap, obviously, is because I learned this from one of my brothers who have requested to remain hidden because he does not want the headache. So we'll leave it at that. How's it going, bro? Hopefully everything's well. And with this particular design, and because of the nice little, this bead lanyard is also from the 90s. It's literally in meticulous condition, and with Laci's design, it'll last your lifetime. It's also one of the rare blades of Laci's design that is chisel edge, meaning it's only grounded on one side only. Gotta be careful on these. And thank God I edged it instead of having Daniel do it, because if Daniel does it, he would have literally cut the hell out of my hands. But mine, I edge it so it cuts by friction, so meaning you have to pull in order to actually produce that cut or push forward, depending on which way the eye actually did the whole sharpening. But this is amazing. I love that, because a lot of the folks say, well, that's only half of a blade somebody was being. Not necessarily, because you have to understand, you can find some swords, especially in Korea, that are known as yukakdo, which is, and also ogakdo, which is weird. It's kind of pentagonal how they did the edging. So on the front of the edge, it's chisel edge just like this. And you'll find also a lot of chisel edging in Southeast Asia and Philippines. And these blades allow for ease of sharpening, obviously, but at the same time, it actually is stronger on a lot of the impact-based cutting. So you could find historical reference to these, and you could also find blades that have this type of edging even still, and also from back in the old days. Absolutely love it. And this is double edge. Now, beauty of this particular blade, paired up with G Innovations Garage Tech Kydex sheath, that, as you'll know, I do it myself, just using whatever I have, the Kydex available. It turned out fantastic. Holds it at the time. It's very easy to access and deploy, so I absolutely love that. It is double-edged. So beauty of being double-edged is you could execute techniques like FFS, underhand knife, at the same time. For those of you who use clinch pick, it works in this like manner because of the back edge that is sharpened. You could cut and go into your works that you normally would with a clinch pick. Also, for those of you who prefer reverse grip edge in method, this thing will allow for call tactics just as well, and it also works great for FFS thrusting, because Laci's blades, such as the UUK, are specifically edge point oriented, so it is designed to reach maximum reach without having to break your wrist. For those of you who do not understand what I meant by the breaking the wrist, is generally when you use, I'm just going to put this down in a second. Let's say if you use a trainer like this, all right? So in order to generally, when you're thrusting, you're taught to thrust like this, and you ended up having to break that wrist. You see that? Well, generally when you punch forward like this, how we do in EKI, we actually hit and thrust in. That's very similar, as Ray explains it, is coming from the small sword and rapier techniques from the historical European martial arts folks, HEMA. Awesome folks. So I'm gonna put the trainer back. All right, so going back to this thing right here. So yeah, it's from the 90s, and the bead is, as you can see, is still there. For those of you who have old school Szabo blades from the 90s and early 2000s, you probably know and have these little beads on your blades, and they're pretty amazing. They last a long time, and I love these because one, easier to, gives you that little resting place for your pinky at the same time, or for your index finger and thumb when you're going for call. But at the same time, I absolutely love this thing. So there it is, and it is a perfect, let's go put this back here, perfect paring knife to the UUK, which is back in the house. For those of you who do not know the whole story, check out the story on the Facebook, and it explains everything. But we'll see how long this stays here. Since I got the UK vampire at hand, let me explain. Since many of you guys has asked, like, these are sold out right now from Mr. Szabo. Should I just grab the UK, the standard edition, or the Magna Cut? So I have to be honest, I don't have any experience with the Magna Cut. This is $10.95, as Laci told me when I acquired this from him back a couple years ago. And so any given chance upgrades, and as the time progresses, there's always innovations and new steel that is supposedly the super steel. It's supposed to be the best. It's the best of everything. Me being an old geezer, I'll tell you right now, is that it doesn't matter. If it works, it works. The difference between the two types of steels that I always say is the stainless versus carbon. The difference in use in performance is that stainless steel blades, in my experience, they break. They don't bend, they break. And when I say break, they break sharply, meaning you can literally see the inside on the break, and you see carbide likeness to them where they actually broke, and generally it's under stress. Carbon steels will bend before they break. All right, you can't break carbon steel, but they will bend before breaking. They're likely to bend, allowing you to actually fix it if you know how to. Generally, you need that little carbide peen hammer like thingy that many of my friends who are bladesmiths have to straighten their blades out. And that's how you generally would do it. But with Magna Cut, I don't know, guys. I don't have much experience to actually tell you about it. But personally, 1095 does it well for me. Yes, are they brittle? Generally, who does the heat treatments of them? I'll tell you right now. It is not just steel means nothing to me now. As long as it's heat treated well. Now, if it's heat treated poorly, then obviously this is where the characteristics of certain type of steel is better, and I'll trust that over the heat treatment. But generally, if it's someone that I know, if they heat treat it well, I'll trust that blade anytime. Doesn't matter what steel it is, I'll trust that, because per se, people ask me, so who are you referring to for heat treatment wise? So the gentleman has passed, but the late Mr. Bagwell, his treatment was legendary. I mean, you could abuse the hell out of Bagwell. I'm talking about an actual Bagwell, not Ontario. Actual Bagwell, you could abuse the hell out of it. Not that if you want to, because of how much they cost even when Mr. Bagwell was with us, but they don't break. I've never seen a Bagwell that broke on the edge. I have heard and seen a Bagwell that broke at the handle, but this was also the operator's misuse of throwing the shit out of that onto container trunks and shit like that. So that's not really the fault of the blade and the handle material. It's young boys being boys and doing stupid shits. So on that front, doesn't really matter. With these, the biggest question that I get regarding the UK Vampire is where the blade guard and where there's a little notch that you can use to actually trap, like the Spanish notch that we use in contact buoy. Is it strong enough to withstand impact? So me being stupid, I did some, like, literally just cutting down on small chopped up woods just to see how well it would withstand. I've never felt any issues on this, and knowing Laci's current gentleman who is making these for him, his name is Mr. Robert Martin, and I believe he was a retired U.S. Marine. And anyone who could craft a blade, especially for an extensive period of time, and if you have the experience to know how, you know for a fact the most important aspect when you craft blades like this is to reinforce this area near the fork, because it's at the thinnest point. But the funniest thing is you have to understand, generally in sword terminology, fork is the strongest part of your sword. With this blade, though it's sweet, though it's thinner, if it's heat treated well, I have no doubt about it, and I don't worry about Laci's blades, because Laci wouldn't put it out of the market unless they are specifically designed to do what they are designed to do, which is in this case trap blade and disarm, if you know how to. And you could kun si yaga all day you want. That's, for those of you non-FMA folks, that's locking and disarming. So on that side, this is fantastic, so you don't have to worry about that if it's coming from Laci. And that pretty much is it. It's been a really awesome morning. I've already had my training with two of the best from the US Army. That's another story I'll post today on my Facebook so you guys know what I'm talking about. But I also have my kid brother coming to see me in just a few minutes, so you'll see some blades, might be even more blade review, or you'll see some at least photos of a couple blades that we kick it with. So with that said, thank you for watching.